This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it, that even on a Whip 'em Out Wednesday, it doesn't matter. It sounds like our show is full of sexual situations. I wonder if that's your lifestyle determines your death style. So there you go. Anyways, today is Wednesday, June the 14th of 2023, day 165th. Of the year, and only 200 days remaining before we get out of this thing known as 2023. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
Radio Big.
Yeah, I'm hanging out with our friends at Radio Big and doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. There is no doubt about that, as we are hanging and banging, doing and moving, grooving, and all that fun stuff. So anyways, as we do our thing and interact and have fun and skedaddle-daddle, we get to do all kinds of interesting stuff here. Listen, you can take us with you wherever you want. There is the Radio Big app. There is the Safety FM app. There is the versionality where you can listen to this on a podcast format, where you can go to ratedarsafetyshow.com, and that will take you default to the podcast version of this. Or you can also watch us on the Streamer-emer if you are one of those video connoisseurs that like to watch everything via video. Well, there's an option to do that as well. All you have to do is the following. If you go to radiobig.fm or go to safetyfm.com, or you can even go to safety.fm, just click on the section that says Visual Radio, and that will get everything moving for you in regards to watching the video format. Of course, we're on the socials as well. If you want to take a look there, that's an option as doing that. And then if you want to interact with the show, where you get the messaging across, where we get to take a little view-see-oozy of what you have to say, video message, audio message, text message, all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. So just so you know, if you put it on the socials, it's great and everything, but does not guarantee that I will see it during the show. Neither does the other one, matter of fact. All it does is if you send the text, I will probably have a better opportunity of taking a look at it, because I can't clicky-icky throughout the whole thing. So anyways, let's talk real quick about things that are going on according to what is trending, because I think that that's going to be one of those things that you're probably going to want to hear.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so according to the trends of the ends of the ends, a pizza delivery startup flounders and an Ecuadorian woman wakes up in her own coffin. We talked briefly about that yesterday. Snoop Dogg is deferring his induction into the Songwriters Hall of Fame until next year. And let's see, what else? Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is giving the economy a much-needed boost. Yeah, just so you know. A live-action remake of Bambi is in the works at Disney, and Stephen Colbert extends his reign as king of late night. We can talk about that. And Ye is drawing the ire of fans, allowing his eldest daughter to attend his birthday party where sushi was being served on naked women. Yep, I said all that. So we'll talk about all that kind of fun stuff of everything's going on. And then we talk about safety in the news and safety, and bring in some professional broadcasters that will tell you what the hell's going on. Because why wouldn't you want some professional broadcasters not to do that? So there you go. So it is Whip 'em Out Wednesday, so don't forget to whip 'em out when you get the chance, because that's always an important aspect to the Wednesday show as it does run concurrent with the Jay Allen in the Morning Show, which sometimes it gets very confusing for some people, because this is our uno of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show, which actually goes into the Rated R Safety Show as well. I know. Titling is important, and then we get all that stuff moving for you. So we will talk about all that fun stuff as we move forward. We'll give you some versionality of a main story, as we always tend to do that, because we have deemed that those things are important. So don't worry, as we are talking. With that being said, why don't we bring in the professional broadcasters, let them tell you what the hell's going on inside of the world of the news, and then we'll get everything rolling and bowling for you.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. Former President Trump is calling the federal charges against him election interference.
Threatening me with 400 years in prison for possessing my own presidential papers, which just about every other president has done, is one of the most outrageous and vicious legal theories ever put forward in an American court of law.
Speaking at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, after pleading not guilty yesterday to federal charges related to his handling of classified documents, Trump called the classified documents he had in his possession his own presidential papers. Trump faces 37 counts, including obstruction, as the indictment against him alleges he stored the materials at his Mar-a-Lago residence. He called Tuesday the most evil and heinous abuse of power in the history of our country. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is warning of pressure on the supply chain after the collapse of a section of I-95 in Pennsylvania. Buttigieg says there's no substitute for the highway getting back up to full working condition, and added it would impact pressure on the supply chain until it's resolved. The road collapsed Sunday when a tanker truck caught fire under the highway. It could be closed for months. Food prices are up as of last month after declining in the spring. Lisa Taylor explains.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index, prices at the grocery store went up 0.1% from April to May. Menu items went up 0.5% in the same time. Grocery prices are nearly 6% more expensive than this time last year, and menu prices rose over 8% in the past year. I'm Lisa Taylor.
An intelligence report shows the U.S. government buys and stores data on Americans with little oversight. The report from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence shows how federal intelligence agencies use the availability of for-purchase data on Americans. The report says it could pose a threat to Americans. And the Vegas Golden Knights are Stanley Cup champions. They took down the Florida Panthers in Game 5 Tuesday night to capture the first title for the franchise. The Vegas offense exploded for 9 goals in the closeout victory. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Julia Chapman. Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty to criminal charges alleging he retained dozens of classified documents after leaving office. Nearly 50,000 junior doctors in England have begun a 3-day strike as they call for a 35% pay rise. And the American author Cormac McCarthy has died at the age of 89.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Ohio Senator J.D. Vance plans to delay the confirmation process for Justice Department nominees over the federal indictment of Donald Trump. The Republican says Attorney General Merrick Garland is abusing DOJ powers.
It's very clear that what they're being used for is to attack Joe Biden's political opponents. We've got to stop it. We've got to show Merrick Garland there are consequences to using the Department of Justice in this way.
Vance says he plans to hold up DOJ nominees on the Senate floor. The White House has stressed that the Justice Department is independent, and Biden played no part in the indictment against Trump. A grand jury investigation into the 2021 U.S. Capitol riot and former President Trump's efforts to stay in power continues to move forward. NBC News reports that two men who served as so-called fake electors in Nevada were spotted at the federal courthouse where the grand jury was meeting on Tuesday. Nevada GOP Chair Michael McDonald and Nevada GOP Vice Chair Jim DeGraffenreid appeared at the courthouse the same day that Trump was arraigned on federal charges in Miami. Last week, a federal grand jury subpoenaed former Trump White House official Steve Bannon in connection to Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigation into the Capitol attack. Pulitzer Prize-winning author Cormac McCarthy is dead at the age of 89. More from Brian Shook.
His publisher confirmed the news on Tuesday, saying McCarthy passed from natural causes at his home in New Mexico. McCarthy was most well known for his books that later became films, including No Country for Old Men, The Road, and All the Pretty Horses. His first novel was published in 1965, and he went on to write 11 others, as well as various short stories, plays, and screenplays. I'm Brian Shook.
And Anita Baker is no longer touring with R&B singer Babyface over harassment allegations. She said on Twitter she's been silently enduring harassment from Babyface's fans, and it's best for her safety to remove him. The tour is a celebration of Baker's 40 years in music and the anniversary of her 1983 debut, The Songstress. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
It's a new year, but it's feeling harder than ever to find and hire qualified people you need, especially for small businesses. That's where LinkedIn Job comes in. They make it easier to find people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified people. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering qualified hires versus leading competitors. I have to tell you that we have used LinkedIn Jobs to even find some of the people that we have here at Safety FM. LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your jobs for free on linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to tell them that you heard it right here on Safety FM.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
So, do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now? That live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com/one. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Oh, nothing better than some self-implosion on a Whip 'em Out Wednesday. There is no doubt about that as we are talking. Anyways, currently 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are doing our thing as we are getting everything moving and grooving for you. There is no doubt about that. Anyway, so let's start talking about what the hell is on the shit list. As you already heard, former President Donald Trump pled not guilty to federal charges on inappropriately handling classified information after leaving office. There was no mugshot taken, and Trump was reportedly not cuffed. The former commander-in-chief appeared in the Miami courtroom where his attorney spoke to the judge. Cameras were not allowed into the courtroom, but insiders say that Trump sat with his arms folded and occasionally conversed with his lawyers. The judge did not impose any travel restrictions or cash bond. Trump's legal team will reportedly challenge the use of Espionage Act to indict him, but even eliminating those charges would leave 6 more counts, 6 counts total. So just so you know, in that particular regards, it's going to be interesting to see what the hell goes on over the next little bit. There is no doubt because we're in unfamiliar waters here in regards to what's going to happen, and I am going to tell you that everyone will have an opinion on this.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this. A California startup about 8 years ago called Zoom promised a new kind of pizza delivery, a totally automated robotic process that would make your pie before the raw dough and unmelted cheese was slid into the oven in a van, and then it was cooked en route to your house. Now the company announced that it's shutting down after burning through more than $400 million in investments funds. Apparently, they couldn't overcome one major hurdle. As they refined their technology and business model in San Francisco, they couldn't find a way to stop the cheese from sliding off the pizza as the vehicles bobbed up and over the city's notoriously steep streets. In 2020, the company tried to pivot and develop a sustainable food packaging. Years later, that there's left nothing. Get this, Zoom's biggest investor was SoftBank, the fund that lost its ass investing on office co-workers company WeWork, which is, effectively imploded just before the pandemic. But wait, Gizmodo points out that the former SpaceX engineer that had gotten more than $16 million from Jay-Z's venture capital fund for a new company, Stellar Pizza, which promises a similar automated on-demand pizza model and currently up and running in Los Angeles. This information is coming via Gizmodo. So maybe the solution here is you can't put it in mountainous areas. I'm just saying. Because listen, if you're having this problem, unless you're going to do something where it has some kind of shock system, where it causes the oven scenario and the robotics not to bounce around, yep, it's just not going to work. I mean, I'm not even an engineer, and I'm sure that whatever I said made absolutely no sense.
It's the show and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this and understand that it is coming from, well, Florida. One linguist from Florida International University suggests that new English dialect is emerging in South Florida as a result of language colliding with so many Spanish speakers. The language pattern results from translating Spanish phrases and idioms literally into English. For example, get down from the car, not get out of the car, and literally translation from bajar del carro. Another common example is make me in line, not stand in line, translated to hacer cola, similar to South Floridian make a party, hacer una fiesta, instead of throwing one. So that's coming from the conversation. So just some things to think about. What do you think? I mean, wasn't there a period of time that they were talking about changing up how the English language was I guess spoken. Yeah, so I don't know. When the whole thing with Ebonics was coming out, that was kind of a big deal to change some things. So what do you think? Is this going to fall under that same, we'll say same category? Maybe that's the better way to take a look at it. Anyways, take a look at this. Someone is stealing urinal drains gates from bathrooms in Japan. According to authorities, over 38 drain crates were swiped up in 16 public restrooms during 2 weeks span in May. The only pattern police have noted is that the bathrooms are all located near Sapporo Airport in Japan. And the thefts are all occurred on weekdays. As one evidence, there is none due to the location of theft. There is no security camera footage. This is according to the Insider. Well, thank goodness that there is no security cameras. Nobody wants that inside of the bathroom. I mean, are we at that point yet? That we need to start thinking about security cameras inside of there. Anyways, we talked about this yesterday, but it's such an interesting story that why is it not worth reporting one more time? But Bella Montoya, a 76-year-old woman from Ecuador, shocked mourners when she started banging on the coffin during her own wake. After being declared dead at the hospital over the weekend, those closest to her gathered to say goodbye, but instead got the shock of a lifetime. I lifted up the coffin, and her heart was pounding, and her left hand was hitting the coffin, and her son stated in a video posted to social media. Montoya was rushed back to the hospital, at least a different one this time, where her current condition is unknown. An investigation of the incident is now underway. This is all according to CNN. So there you go. What a weird world, huh? When you start thinking about that. It's like the sum of all fears is maybe the best way to put that as we are talking. Anyways, 22 minutes past the top of the hour. I think it is time to bring in some John Smalls into our life for him to tell us about what the hell is going on with the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Wednesday, June 14th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets continue to advance despite hot inflation. The headline read of the CPI index came in lower than expected, but still hot at 4%, double the Fed's target, while core inflation runs hotter at 5.3%. The data increased the odds of another rate hike, a negative for equities. And the CME's FedWatch tool suggests interest rates could rise another 50 basis points and top out above 5.5%. The real danger is that hot inflation will keep the Fed tighter for longer, which is not fully priced into the market. Today's FOMC meeting appears to be priced into the market. The CPI data was neither hot nor cool enough to sway them from pausing or indicating a cut. This means that equities could continue to rally into the summer. By then, the Fed will know if the cool down of inflation is real and whether another interest rate hike is needed. You can get the inside track at MarketBeatMinute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information on what the hell is going on inside of the world, because, we need to know what the hell is going on in the market. Let's not lie here. Anyways, here's what I was able to locate. The Dow added about 145 points to close at 34,212 on Tuesday. The S&P added about 30 points to close at 4,369. And the NASDAQ added about 111 points to close at 13,573. Worth noting, tech company NVIDIA closed the day with a market cap of over $1 trillion for the first time ever. Let's want to make sure that I reference that. West Texas Intermediate Intermediate closed at $69 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $74 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was at $3.59 on Tuesday, and Bitcoin ticked down, trading just over $25,900. There was more than 3,765 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Tuesday, with more than about 120 cancellations. So there you go. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $340 million jackpot, or $175.5 million payout. So if you want to play the game, I guess you have the opportunity to do so. Just take a look around. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about all the things that are going on, because we need to talk about it. So take a listen to this. The Labor Department says that May's 4% inflation rate is the lowest since March of 2021. Iowa State University economist Peter Orazum notes that, however, that's the nation's core inflation rate, which takes out food and energy prices, and it's still over 5%.
The big reason that inflation is down is year-over-year energy prices are down 11.7%. Remember that they were peaking shortly after the Russians went into Ukraine a year ago.
So remember that in particular that he's talking about. But Peter also says that he thinks that the core number is a spur Federal Reserve to again raise interest rates when it wraps up in 2 days. Iowa State University economist also says that the nation's newest inflation numbers tell two different stories.
Overall inflation looks better, but if you look at what they call core inflation, which is inflation excluding energy prices and food prices, that's still increasing at 5.3% a year.
The Federal Reserve meets today to make another decision on whether or not to continue raising interest rates.
I almost think that they're going to go ahead and raise interest rates one more time, because they put a big weight on that core inflation number, and that only abated by 0.2 percentage points over the last month. So that's still not very much in the direction that they want to go.
So think about that. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. Take a listen to this. Ridgeneck Elementary school teacher who was shot by her 6-year-old student is no longer with the school. Sarah has more information.
According to Newport News Public Schools, Abby Zwerner notified the Human Resources Department that she was resigning in March, 2 months after she was shot. WTVR-TV reports that Zwerner received confirmation of her separation of service on Tuesday, the last day of her contract. Zwerner, who continues her recovery, has filed a $40 million lawsuit against the school district, its former superintendent, and the former principal and vice principal at Ridgeneck Elementary School. This week, the mother of the 6-year-old accused of shooting his teacher pled guilty to federal charges of using drugs while possessing a firearm. I'm Sarah Bartlett.
So thank you, Sarah Bartlett, for the information right there. It's going to be interesting to see if I'm sure we have not heard the end of that story, as you already know. Anyways, a new study identifies the most dangerous hour to drive in Iowa. Dave Bull has more information.
A national study from Forbes Advisor analyzed 5 years of data to determine the most dangerous time to be on the roads in each state. And in Iowa, that's 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. The most dangerous day to be on the roads in Iowa is Saturday, and the most deadly month on Iowa roadways is September. Nationally, the most dangerous hour to drive is 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm Dave Bull.
Okay, thanks, Dave. So, so let me ask the question here. Do you have a way of not driving between 6 and 7 p.m. daily? And is it something that you could do in your lifetime, if that would be the case? I'm just asking the question. Just something to think about, especially on a Whip 'em Out Wednesday. Anyways, more information is being released about the Yucatan High School student who shot and killed after graduation in Richmond last week. Sarah Bartlett has more info.
WTVR-TV reports that 18-year-old Sean Jackson had been attending classes virtually. Richmond Public Schools only said his education plan was not due to any disciplinary issues. Jackson and his stepfather, 36-year-old Renzo Smith, were shot and killed when 19-year-old Amari Pollard reportedly opened fire last Tuesday. School officials say Pollard had withdrawn from Richmond Public Schools in 2020 and graduated in Henrico County in 2022. Authorities say there was some sort of long-standing dispute between Pollard and Jackson. Pollard is scheduled to be in court June 21st. I'm Sarah Bartlett.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. So let's just talk about that. That's going to be an interesting one as we are talking. There is no doubt about that as things will move forward, no doubt, as we are looking at what is going to happen inside of there. Take a listen to this one. This one's coming out of California. Thousands of Southern California hotel workers are threatening to strike as a busy summer travel season approaches. Unite Here Local 11 co-president Kurt Peterson says the union members deserve more money.
We're telling the industry, we suffered during the pandemic, we sacrificed, and now that you're making money, we want to share in that money.
More than 60 hotels in Los Angeles County could see their contracts with unionized hotel workers expires at the end of the month unless a deal is reached first. More than 15,000 hotel workers have approved the strike authorization. The room attendants, cooks, dishwashers, front desk agents, and servers want an immediate $5 per hour wage increase so they can keep up with the rising cost of housing. Peterson says the hotels are getting away with charging guests more while paying employees the same.
Rates are higher than they've ever been. $500-$600 a night is not uncommon. So that's about what a worker makes in a take-home pay in a week is a one-night stay at a luxury hotel in Santa Monica.
The cook at the hotel in Santa Monica says the wage increase would go a long way.
It would change my situation where I can maybe get a car so I don't have to ride 2 hours. I don't have to get up at 4 a.m. just to get here at 7 o'clock.
A couple of things here to talk about. Number one, what, $500 to $600 a night for a hotel in LA? I didn't realize that it went up that much. I always knew it was expensive from the times that I used to go out there. But man, I didn't realize that it had went up by that amount. And let's talk about this. I understand the guy would like to get a car. Not a bad deal. I don't blame you. I don't blame you on wanting a car. But we're still talking about LA traffic. It's still going to take you a long ass time to get there, regardless, even if you're driving your own vehicle. I remember I used to fly into LA just to give you some background story here. And I would make sure that I would fly in towards the middle of the day. That way I wouldn't be stuck in morning traffic or stuck in afternoon traffic. Just something to think about there. Anyways, with that being said, and it still being Whip 'em Out Wednesday, let's go ahead and get into that thing that we do because it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour. And let's go ahead and talk about our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about it because there's so many different things to talk about and so many different things to, I guess to some extent, we could be excited about in regards of what happens inside of our world. There's so many things to be excited about of what's happening inside of our little niche of safety. But I have a question for you. And I have a question that I would like for you to think about deeply. First off, do you work in an organization that has over 1,000 people? Yes, that's that 1000 number. Yes, the 4 digits, over 1,000 people. Or is it less than 1,000? And let me tell you why I'm going to ask the following question. Because I want to know, how repetitive do you need to be in an organization to get the information out there? Now, let's use the other side of the equation. And let's say that you are a consultant. And what you do is you go around and tell people about the stuff that you've made up. Or the nonsense you've made up, however you want to deem it. How frequently do you use the same messaging? Because we are getting into that weird scenario, and it's not like we're getting into, we've always been into this weird scenario, where the message is being repeated over and over and over and over and over again. So how many times do you repeat it if you're inside of an organization? And does it depend mostly on crowd size? Listen, I have been running experiments here for the last 3 years or so, and getting to interact with organizations, which is always a fun time. I'm not going to say that it's not. And talking about and interacting about the things that I get to speak about. But how many times do you get to repeat that same story? How many times do you get to repeat those same concepts? And listen, I know that people have made, I I guess, all of their finances by repeating that same story over and over again. And good for you if you can do that. But at some point, you have to refresh. You have to look at what's going on. And I guess this is where I get hung up on some things at times in regard to talking about stuff. Because listen, there are some repetitiveness to what you do and what I do. There is no doubt about it. If you think about it too, think about your most favorite book that you've ever read. And I'm talking about non-fiction book. If you think about all of those self-help books that are out there that exist in the world today, think about the repetitiveness of the book. It's rinse, wash, repeat. Rinse, wash, repeat. And some people go, isn't it wash, rinse, repeat? Well, you have to wet it first, so there you go. But you get the concept. You get what I'm saying here in regards of that. So what is the frequency based on the amount of people that is inside of your organization? And do you tailor it to what is going on? I think that sometimes some of the art of what you do and some of the art of what I get to do is making it all sound new. Because nobody wants to go in there and do the robotic type of stuff, keep people informed with the longer version of another coverage. Thank you for listening to what is going on in the world of safety. If I did that, you know what the kind of excitement people would have in regards to me relaying the information? So when you think about this, what is a good way to repeat? Because that's where it can become confusing. Even as a trainer, a listener, a provider, an information provider, is how many times do you repeat that without it sounding stale? You know what I'm talking about. You've been in a class. You've been in an event where you know the presenter has said that shit 1,000,000 times and they're bored of saying it and it's coming across that exact same way. So how do you do it for it not to sound repetitive and for it to sound appealing to the audience? Because what I have always enjoyed in being an instructor is that that aha moment that people get. That moment where all of a sudden you're talking to them and you know that they got it. It's there. It just clicks. If you've experienced the moment, you know what I'm talking about. If you've never experienced the moment, you're going like, what the hell are you on today? Either way, think about that. How many times do you repeat it to make sure that it's successful within your organization?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me. Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/one-small-step, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/one-small-step. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
There you go, 42 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Whip 'em Out Wednesday. This is hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show, also referred to as the Rated R Safety Show. This right here, this is Rituals by Rory. You can give it a little streamer-eamer action if you'd like. YouTube Music, Apple Music, Spotify. Yeah, Spotify. So there you go. So there you go. Anyway, so let's get into it. Let's get back into what the hell we have going on with this show today on this Wednesday. We still got a plethora of news coming your way. And all that kind of fun stuff. Thanks to Rory for allowing us to play this morning as we are hanging out doing all the stuff that we get to do out of our Orlando studios. No doubt about that as we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. Yep, that's To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, know that you deserve to be connected with help. Yep. We want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to twloha.com. That's twloha.com. Go to their website, go all the way to the far right-hand side, and click on the section that says Find Help. Listen, there's all other kind of great resources on there as well, but this is the section I want you to focus on. Well, I guess more importantly, you can go in there and take a look at what's available for the crisis resources line that are available for the different countries such as U.S., Canada, UK, Ireland, and then the National Prevention Lifeline is also available phone number-wise. TransLive number and the Trevor Project, just to name a few of what can be found on their website. Listen, you're going through it. They have a resource available for you to be able to assist. No joke about it. We all struggle from time to time. There is no doubt. So there's some resources for you to go take a look at and go from there. So twloha.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. That being said, let's talk a little bit more about some things that are going on inside of the multiverse, because we have to do that because I think it's important. But let's talk about your wildest dream. Have you had someone really weird? Well, not had someone, but have you ever had one of those really weird dreams lately? Well, there's a good reason for it, and you're not alone. According to Healthline, I did say Healthline, you can blame the weather where you're overheated, and even for as little as a half an hour, your body can go into a panic mode. And says the website, your body can react to extreme heat by raising your heart rate and activating your stress control center. That means that by the time that you go into the drop off, your body has already primed for the tussle with something, and once you fall asleep, that something can quickly become your own dreams. Healthline says that quality sleep affected because of the heat plus the body and the nature of the anxiety state, and now that your dreams can become more vivid and more easily simply because your body is overheated, and also because you wake up more often, you're more likely to remember those dreams longer period of time. I don't know if you call them dream. I would call them nightmares at that particular portion, but that's just me. And they're right. I had a really bizarre dream last night where we all got big raises. So maybe that's something to think about. And why is it that the only dream I ever remember are the ones that I'd rather forget? Think about that. I don't know. I mean, let's talk about this. Do you tend to dream a lot about the things that are, when you fall asleep? Is that one of those things that, you wake up and remember? I guess, do you remember your dreams a lot, which should probably be the better question. Or or are you like some of the things that I read online where people go that they're living multiple life, the one that's here and then one that's in the dreamland? Talk about bizarro world. I'm sure we can get into that and talk about all kinds of fun stuff.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this. Any amount of alcohol could increase the risk of developing more than 60 diseases, according to research published by the Journal of Nature Medicine. Oxford University researchers studied the effects of alcohol on men for over a period of 10 years and found that even occasional drinkers are at the higher risk of certain conditions, including more than 30 illnesses not previously linked to alcohol. Yet, to me, the risk is still better than facing, some of your family sober. I mean, I'm just saying. So think about that. Researchers say that drinking alcohol in moderation may turn down stress in the brain, which could in turn explain why studies show benefits in the heart. The head of research at the Cardiovascular Image Research Center in Massachusetts General Hospital, that's a short name, noted that after you have about a little alcohol, you feel relaxed, experience distressing response. They determined that your brain change in the light of the moderate drinkers explained a significant portion of protective cardiac effects, but because alcohol also raises the risk of cancer, the researchers aren't advising people to, to go out there and drink a ton, I guess. That when what I don't find distressing, all the contrary studies on health effects of drinking. So there you go. So a lot of stuff to think about. So what do you think? Does it make you think anything else, or do you just go, well, it is what it is, and let's just continue going on with the world? Take a listen to this. 2 people are dead after a apparent road rage shooting at I-25 in Denver on Tuesday afternoon. On Monday, one man who works near I-25 and the 8th Avenue says there was no reason to use a weapon for road rage.
What is that going to prove? Because now you're going to get home and look over your shoulder the rest of the time? Makes no sense.
The shooting happened around 3 p.m. on the northbound side between West 6th and West 8th Avenue, according to the Denver Police Department. Officers arrived and found a man on the shoulder of the road who was suffering of a gunshot wound before he was pronounced dead at the scene. A second man was found on the northbound I-25 ramp on West 8th and that later died in the hospital. According to DPD, the 25-year-old Stephen Long is in custody and being held on 2 counts of first-degree murder. Northbound I-25 was closed from Alameda Avenue to 8th Avenue for the investigation and has since then reopened. I mean, think about that for a moment. Boy, does that make life much different when you think about that as we are going through the process. I mean, it's just weird. Take a listen to this. LGBTQ pride flags are now banned from flying on city properties in Hammock, Michigan, along with the religious, ethnic, political, and racial flags. After a unanimous vote from the city council, this man was all for the ban.
I'm all for removing the gay pride flag. Because you know what? Let me tell you something. This is America. I have the right to say I'm against the gay pride flag. If anyone has an issue with it, they could go kick rocks.
The vote followed hours of public comments for and against the proposal, and only the U.S. Michigan City Prisoner of War and other national flags are allowed. People are still able to fly any flag they want in their home. The woman opposed the ban had this to say.
I relocated from California to Hamtramck. That's really far away, and I did it because I thought it was a diverse community.
So it makes it kind of interesting when you start thinking about this on what people find offensive and don't find offensive. Because it's different strokes for different folks. Let's just be realistic. And that's jargon wording for sure as I say that. But I want you to think about it. Why is it that one thing has more of an impact to other people than it does to some, depending on what city, state, and county they all live in? Makes you kind of wonder some things at times. Anyways, there will not be charges in the death of the 1-year-old Kayani Jones in February from Grand Rapids. Her mother, Amanda O'Brien, was in the hospital on February the 19th giving birth and was called by the babysitter who said that her daughter was throwing up and had a bloated stomach.
Do the right thing. Come forward. Say something. You hurt an innocent baby that y'all claimed y'all loved.
O'Brien says that her 5-year-old child saw her babysitter's boyfriend beating Kalyani in the stomach, and while the baby's death was ruled a homicide, Kent County prosecutors Chris Becker says that they don't have enough evidence to charge anyone who does not want the 5-year-old to stand. So there you go. Amanda O'Brien is upset that no charges are being filed in the death of the 1-year-old from February.
Honestly, I'm mad. I'm hurt. I'm angry. I want to hurt somebody. I want somebody to feel how I feel as a mother.
That's a weird comment to make. I want people to feel like I feel like a mother. Oh, that's probably going to be one of those ones that we need to you know what we need to say.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Anyways, 53 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's do this. Let's bring some John Smalls into our life for him to tell us what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Curtis. Ayn Rand said, "If a businessman makes a mistake, he suffers the consequences. If a bureaucrat makes a mistake, you suffer the consequences." Very true. Now, I try to avoid politics here, but this quote is just too good not to share. Thank you, Curtis. We'll dance around the edges of being political, because sometimes that's okay. If politicians would stick to the powers they were intended to have, things would probably be just fine. But somehow, over the last few decades, it seems that many people in power have found a way to give themselves more and more and more power. This is where the dangers come in. Okay, now I'll get off that subject. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. When it comes to meditation, unless you have a lot of experience, it is almost inevitable that at some point during meditation, your concentration and focus will drift away, and you may find yourself back with your thoughts. For a lot of people, this means that the meditation has failed. However, rewiring of circuits for focus by way of neuroplasticity happens through refocusing. Peer-reviewed studies from the New York University show that a 13-minute per day focus and refocus meditation significantly improves concentration. The key to a successful practice is this. It's not about focus, it's about refocus. This means that every time your mind drifts, it's an opportunity to refocus and to build up the circuits for concentration and improved attention. For more information on wellness, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes. Apparently now we're too stupid. So there you go. I guess that's one way to look at it. So there you go. 55 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk real quick about some things that happened back on this date. As I take a look around, let's see. Let's do this. In 2017, a Bernie Sanders supporters opened fire at a Republican politician practicing baseball in Alexandria, Virginia. James Hoskinson shot U.S. House Majority Whip Steve Scalise, U.S. Capitol Police officers Crystal Griner, Congressional aide Zach Barth, and lobbyist Matt Mika. Hodgkinson would later die during a 10-minute shootout at the Capitol police officers. All 4 victims would survive their injuries. That happened back in 2017. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Ryan McCartan turns 30. Lucy Hale, 34. Kevin McHale turns 35. Chris Appleton turns 40. Freddie Gibbs, 41. Alan Carr, 47. Sam Perkins, 62. Boy George also turned 62. Eric Hayden turned 65. Kim Landcord turned 69. And Donald Trump, he turned 77 today. So there you go. There's some birthdays that are going on. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you as well. It's National Flag Day, Army Birthday, National Strawberry Shortcake Day, World Blood Donor Day, National Bourbon Day, National Cupcake Day, and International Bath Day. Shit, I think some people should probably celebrate that one a little bit more frequently than others. Just throwing that out there for a moment. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, let's take a look real quick. If you need a random joke for today, I have one of those for you. I asked the IT guy, how do you make a motherboard? He said, I'll tell her about my job. Think about that. Think about that. Think about that. So there you go. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What were you completely certain of until you found out that you were wrong? Who said my so-called life? Okay, that's a whole other story. If you need something for the water cooler, try this question. When asked, 35% of daughters said that their fathers embarrassed them by doing this. What is it? Walking around without a shirt while their friends were visiting. Who the hell walks around without a shirt? Like, seriously. I live in Florida, and I have such a hard time understanding that on people walking outside without a shirt on. But hey, I guess that's my deal. That's my deal, not your deal. But anyways, there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm for the next couple hours or so. If you want to come and hang out with me, you're more than welcome on doing so. If not, that's okay too. I won't get offended. I'm not offended by those things, but I would love to see you over there. If not, you can hang out on Safety FM. Be with Mr. Sheldon Primus as he talks about the business of safety consulting, as that is important to some. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, let me tell you this, if I can leave you with a deep thought for today. We all have 2 lives. The second one starts when we realize we only have one. Think about that. Think about that. Think about that. So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you. Mean it, and goodbye. And thank you for always being a listener.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.